It's incredible what you can achieve when you finally shed the dead weight holding you back. Zane's voice was smooth, practiced, as he addressed the small circle of art critics. The light from the gallery's track lighting was so clean and white it felt sterile, bleaching the color from his triumphant smile. He gestured vaguely in my direction, a dismissive flick of the wrist. Everyone looked. I just held my plastic cup of cheap Prosecco and met his gaze across the room. Polite applause for his speech had just died down, leaving a hum of quiet conversation. You have no idea, I thought, what you've just done. We met at a shared workspace called Synergy, a place full of exposed brick, and people who used words like disrupt without irony. Zane was the charisma. He had a laugh that filled a room and an easy confidence that made you want to believe in whatever he was selling. Was the technician, the one who lived in the quiet glow of a Wacom tablet, fluent in code and Pantone colors. We bonded over a shared project for a local startup, pulling a 48-hour shift fueled by terrible coffee and a genuine spark of creative excitement. I remember him, at 3 a.m., sketching out a user flow on a whiteboard and turning to me, eyes electric, saying, "We are going to build worlds together." That was our good memory. The first red flag came a month later. I'd single-handedly designed a logo for a small client, a complex geometric bird. During the presentation, which I'd let him lead because he was better with people, he kept saying I felt this color conveyed trust and my vision was for something clean and modern. When I brought it up later, he just laughed it off. "Oh, come on," he'd said, "we're a team. It's just semantics." I let it go. It seemed so small then. The next 2 years were our golden period, or so I thought. We founded a small creative agency, just the two of us. Our big project was Kinetic Flora, a series of generative digital art pieces that bloomed and evolved based on real-time weather data. It was my concept, my code, my painstaking hours in Procreate building the foundational assets. I spent nights awake, tweaking algorithms and rendering textures until my eyes burned. Zane handled the business side. Took meetings, networked at gallery openings, and built our brand on Instagram with photos of him looking thoughtful in our studio, a studio I paid for with equipment I owned. The imbalance grew so slowly I barely noticed. I'd send him a breakthrough at 2 a.m. He'd reply at 10 a.m. with "looks great, client will love it." I'd spend a week perfecting a single digital petal. He'd spend a week designing a new business card. I was exploiting my kindness, my focus, my naive belief that our handshake partnership meant something. He'd borrow $500 for a client dinner that I suspected was just a night out. He used my Adobe Creative Cloud subscription for his personal projects. I rationalized it all. He's the face of the company, I told myself. This is his strength. The discovery was stupidly simple. We had a shared cloud server for our project files. On Tuesday, while searching for an old invoice, I saw a new folder he must have accidentally synced from his personal drive. KF Solo Venture. Inside was everything. LLC paperwork listing him as the sole proprietor. A signed contract with the prestigious gallery Valerius for a solo exhibition of Kinetic Flora. Emails to the gallery director where he referred to me as his talented but unreliable assistant who he was managing out. He had stolen my work, my identity, and was systematically turning my own contacts against me by painting me as a flaky subordinate. It had been going on for 7 months. The floor of my apartment felt like it was tilting. For a full minute, I just sat there, the only sound the hum of my computer, and plotted. The breaking point was that gallery opening. He'd invited me with a text, "Big night. You should come see what we accomplished." The whole art world was there. Quinn, a mutual friend from the Synergy space, was there. My former professor was there. Zane stood in the center of the room, my work projected onto enormous screens behind him, pulsing with life. He pulled me aside after his speech, his breath smelling of expensive gin. "Look, some people are idea generators and some people are closers," he said, his voice a low, conspiratorial whisper. "You generated. I closed. This is just how the world works. Be happy you were part of something so successful. It's a good line on your resume." I felt nothing. The rage was so cold and pure it had become a kind of fuel. My eyes drifted past him to one of the prints for sale on the wall, a close-up of a digital orchid. I could see it, even from a few feet away. Faint, almost invisible texture in the background. It came from a custom digital brush I'd made, a file named Grit7B, designed to mimic charcoal on cold-pressed paper. It was my signature, coded into the very DNA of the art. He had no idea it was even there. The next day I called Ms. Yang, an intellectual property lawyer whose name I got from an acquaintance. She was sharp, concise, and didn't waste a single word. After I walked her through the story, there was a brief pause on the line. Then she said, "Good. You didn't get emotional. You got organized." Her retainer was $12,000. I paid it from my savings without flinching. For the next 10 weeks, my life was a secret mission. By day, I was numbly responding to Zane's texts about our next steps. By night, Ms. Yang and I were building an ironclad fortress of evidence. We assembled 57 key pieces of proof. The original, time-stamped Procreate and code repository files from my hard drive, showing creation dates 2 years before his LLC was formed. The Grit7B brush file, with metadata proving I'd created it. chain of 214 emails where I explained every step of the creative process to Zane, who usually replied with one-word answers. A sworn affidavit from Quinn, who testified to seeing me work alone on the project for months. My bank statements showing the purchase of the specific iPad Pro and software used. The ironic coincidence came from an interview Zane gave to Modern Canvas magazine. When asked about his technique, he recited word for word a paragraph I had written in an email describing my method for layering textures. He was so arrogant he hadn't even bothered to rephrase it. Ms. Yang called it a gift. We had one close call when Quinn texted me. Hey, ran into Zane. He was asking if you were mad about the gallery show. I just said you were busy. Hope that's okay. My heart hammered against my ribs for an hour. The decoy trap was Ms. Yang's idea. Sent a basic cease and desist, which Zane's new expensive lawyer dismissed as frivolous. Perfect, she'd said. Let him sell 2 more large format pieces. He's just increasing the damages he'll have to pay you. The deposition took place in a sterile conference room with a long mahogany table. Zane arrived with his lawyer, looking tanned and confident in a tailored suit. He nodded at me, a smug little smirk playing on his lips. I sat beside Ms. Yang, my hands folded calmly on the table. Zane, she began, her voice even. I just want to understand your creative process for kinetic flora. He launched into a 5-minute monologue about inspiration, about the artist's soul, about his unique vision. He was performing. Ms. Yang let him finish, then slid a folder across the table. The first wave of evidence, emails, timestamps, the Modern Canvas article next to my original email. His lawyer's face tightened. Zane's bravado began to curdle into confusion. He stammered it was a collaboration. My vision guided his technical skill. Then came the killer proof. Ms. Yang placed a brand new iPad Pro and Apple Pencil on the table, already turned onto a blank Procreate canvas. Please, she said, her voice cutting through his excuses. Using the standard brushes available here, recreate the signature background texture from print number 3, Digital Orchid. Just that one texture. It should be simple for an artist of your caliber. Panic. Pure, unadulterated panic flashed in his eyes. He looked from the iPad to his lawyer, who offered a helpless shrug. Couldn't do it. He didn't know how. He didn't even know what I was talking about. Ms. Yang let the silence stretch for a full 30 seconds before sliding one final sheet of paper across the table. It was a printout of the Grit 7B brush file's metadata. My name. The creation date. You were never the closer, I said, my first words of the meeting. You were just the dead weight. The fallout was swift and brutal. Within 24 hours of the settlement being finalized, for $135,000, covering my legal fees, lost income, and damages, the story was leaked to an Art World blog. Gallery Valerius issued a public statement retracting the exhibition and severing all ties with Zane. His Instagram went private. Mutual friends sent me a flurry of 47 unanswered texts, a mix of apology and shock. The judgment was legally binding. Zane had to publicly relinquish all claims to the Kinetic Flora project and issue a formal credit and apology to me. The most painful image came 6 months later. I was walking to my new, smaller studio in a quieter part of the city when I saw him. He was loading catering boxes into the back of a van, wearing a stained polo shirt with a cheap catering company's logo on it. Our eyes met for a second through the glass of the cafe I was passing. There was no anger in his expression. Just a hollowed-out emptiness. My life found a new rhythm. The settlement gave me a year's runway. I launched my own brand under my own name. Studio was modest, but the light that streamed through the windows every morning felt like a blessing. I found a quiet joy in the work again, a peace that had been stolen from me. The earned calm was better than any revenge. Last week, a small design publication interviewed me about my new series. The last question was about what motivated me. I thought for a moment, then smiled. It's incredible what you can achieve when you're finally free. The work was always mine, but now, so was the peace.